Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 834.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about the silver squeeze. That might not make any sense to you right now, but by the end of this podcast, you're going to understand what exactly is going on and why, and how it's connected into the famous GameStop hedge fund squeeze that we saw happen on Friday, which took the market down and caused a lot of consternation and billions in losses for certain hedge funds, where Robinhood was part of that equation, and a lot of people are very confused as to what was going on. Well, I wrote a blog post about this on my website, so I'm going to share with you a little bit about that, and then we'll get into what's happening next and where the everyday investor is focusing on buying the next shorted position and bringing the next investment up like crazy. And you guessed it, it's silver. So let's talk about GameStop and what shorting actually means and what actually happened on Friday, just really briefly. Just to recap, it's kind of like we have a battle going on between two rival gangs, kind of like the Crips and the Bloods. Not that I really know about gangs, but just hang with me for a minute. So we have these two rival gangs. We have the hedge funds, which are representative of establishment money. Some of the very wealthiest people invest in hedge funds, and not all hedge funds are the same. Not all hedge funds do the same thing, but there's a lot of animosity by the everyday investor against hedge funds, mainly for some of the losses that happened with long-term capital management and how they needed a bailout from taxpayer money. There's a lot of anger about that still exists. So there's that. The other gang is the everyday investor. It started out with the Robinhood app and people thinking that they were the good guys. Turns out Robinhood is in the pocket of the hedge funds. Robinhood gets a lot of income from some of these hedge funds who pay for order flow. The other rival gang is the everyday investor, which started out as the Robinhood investor and people who were posting on Reddit and other blogs, Wall Street Bets, and noticed that a particular savvy investor had gotten involved with a brick and mortar company called GameStop that was having trouble because of the lockdowns, because of the quarantines, because of lack of consumer traffic in their stores. And so their stock had depreciated in value. But a savvy investor got involved, bought shares, got on the board, and other people noticed that. And so they were able to buy in at a low price. But meanwhile, the hedge funds smelled blood, and they were shorting the stock, betting that it would go down and eventually drive it out of business. But the other rival gang started buying the stock, and that drove the price of the stock up, which meant the hedge funds lost money. About $1 billion for every 11 points that the stock went up. Well, it went up from single digits to $350 a share, and briefly even higher than that. So one hedge fund lost 53% of its total capital in 1 month. And two other buddy hedge funds of theirs gave them a bit of a bailout by throwing in $3 billion of extra capital to them. But then that meant Steve Cohen's hedge fund lost 15% in January. And we're not even talking about the prime broker, who probably also lost money in this deal. Robinhood has since taken 2 lines of credit out from 2 banks. So now it's involving the banking system in its failing model. And Robinhood's in trouble because it literally disallowed people from buying GameStop stock because the hedge funds were losing so much money. So they stopped allowing people to buy the stock, which meant the stock couldn't go up, but they allowed people to sell the stock. Well, their strategy was different than other Wall Street brokerages, so we know that this didn't come from a regulatory body. Rather, this came from within Robinhood and their decision to stop selling stock. Needless to say, the everyday investor was very ticked off because their gains were capped and even many of them were sold out of their positions automatically. If they had been able to hold on, it's likely that their price could have gone up substantially more. So this story isn't finished. It's ongoing because the battle isn't over. The everyday investor is still buying GameStop. The hedge funds are still, to some degree, shorting GameStop, although some of their shorts have been covered. But the problem is they had sold more shares than even existed of GameStop stock, which meant it's nearly impossible to find stock that would be able to close out their positions and cover the shares that they had borrowed. So basically, we're in a situation where the hedge funds are stuck losing money. They have a chance to go belly up, which could spread among other hedge funds and into the banking sector. So this is very, very serious in terms of the whole financial industry and what is going on. Meanwhile, other companies were in a similar situation. AMC Movie Theaters was also a heavily shorted stock that Wall Street Bets and the everyday investors on the blogs and on Reddit decided to go in and buy. Same thing, bid that stock up, and the hedge funds were losing money on their shorts. Also, Nokia, BlackBerry, and some other companies are caught up in the same short strategy by the hedge funds and the everyday investor, taking the price in the opposite direction. So this battle between the Crips and the Bloods, the hedge funds and the everyday investor, is not going to end well. Now, we come to where are they moving next? They're moving next to silver. If the everyday investor really wanted to make an impact against the establishment, against the centralized controlled system, the place to do that is really silver. And that's exactly what they're coming for. The physical silver is sold out on nearly every single website that I've seen. Even our One Gold app that we use for digital silver backed by physical silver is shut down. And why silver is so important is because the vast majority of silver that's traded is just paper contracts. It's not really physical silver. The physical silver is never delivered at the end of the contract. The contract is just rolled into the next contract and the next one. These are contracts to own silver, but nobody ever has to deliver the physical silver. They just keep trading the contracts. In the meantime, there are banks that sell silver short. This is silver, again, that they don't own. They borrow it, sell it, hoping to drive the price of silver down and pressure the price to stay low. These banks have paid millions of dollars in fines for doing this illegal manipulation. It's been going on for decades. They do it to keep the fiat currency more in demand because silver could easily substitute as a currency, and if it appreciated to its true price and value, people would rather own it and gold instead of fiat paper money, which declines in value over time and is certainly subject to loss of purchasing power due to inflation. So billions of contracts are traded with no physical silver changing hands. This is mostly on the COMEX, with options and futures contracts. But now that the everyday investor is buying physical silver, the shorts will be forced to buy silver to close and complete their short trades. Only no one is going to sell them the physical silver. So the price of silver will climb, and they will try to get someone to sell them silver. And when no one does, the contracts will then break and trade in cash at whatever the bid for silver is, which is likely to go much, much higher. So the plan is that the everyday investor won't sell their silver to the hedge funds or to bankers. And this could end up being a widespread problem for banks because 8 banks at least are short silver. So this is a widespread problem in the banking system, and I don't think it's going to end well. And now you know why I've always insisted to all of my listeners and clients of the VIP experience that you have physical silver in your possession, so you know that you own it. And if you do, you'll be one of the ones who is watching what happens this week during this silver squeeze. What's really happening here is the control that the centralized power of a few institutions, agencies, corporations have had over the people is being exposed. The rebellion by everyday investors is against centralized control, so that a decentralized system will emerge. In this scenario, silver, which has been suppressed by central banks for decades to support their fiat currency, and a particular cryptocurrency we've been invested in, which is decentralized and trustless, controlled by no one, will emerge as the winners, I believe. This is what's known as the global financial reset. In fact, our cryptocurrency is also a target of the Wall Street Bets people, and just yesterday was up 55%, so it's on a tear. It's going up like crazy. Our silver is sold out everywhere. We're waiting to see what happens to the silver price this week and our silver mining stocks. I don't know how hedge funds that short are going to survive this. It seems like the everyday investors have their number, and they're going after the companies that they have shorted in size. One thing I know is that the everyday person, the taxpayer, the citizen, is not going to support bailing out any hedge fund that blows up the financial system. What I could see happening now is a complete collapse of that system, which I've been calling for since last year. If you remember, I had a prediction that we would eventually have a collapse. I do think we will see some sort of financial collapse, and I think we'll have a complete reset of that system. What does that mean? It likely would entail complete debt forgiveness, a revaluation of currencies and a level playing field for currencies, a new currency being introduced that's probably a cryptocurrency that is backed by physical assets, gold, silver, natural resources, oil, etc., giving real value back to currency again, getting rid of central banks and going back to the treasuries of countries running their own currencies. I think it's very likely that gold and silver will be repriced much higher than the current market value that we see them. And while I like gold as an investment, and I do think it's viable to back currencies, silver is the bigger winner because percentage-wise, from such a low price of around $27 an ounce to multiples of that, well, percentage-wise, I think silver will be the bigger winner. The stock market had a lot of trouble last week, with the Dow falling 3.3%, its biggest weekly loss since October. The S&P also fell the same, and the Nasdaq fell 3.5%, its biggest weekly loss since October. The smaller companies in the Russell 2000 lost the most, 4.4%, also their biggest weekly loss since October. I think stocks are likely to continue to sell off unless they are mining related or physical asset related, natural resource type companies. So now is a good time to communicate with your financial advisor to make sure your risk tolerance matches the stock market trend. But I wouldn't panic. I want you to understand what is happening and why this could indicate a significant turning point from the, quote, stocks always go up philosophy. This kind of Crips versus Bloods, or two gangs working against each other in the markets, can be a destabilizing event. And it's important that this is communicated to you. If you haven't heard about this from your financial advisor, then you're not being kept informed on very important happenings in the market and with your money. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen and when, but I can tell you that there is a reset of the system that needs to happen. I'm not talking about the Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum reset. Not that one. That's not going to happen. The good guys are in charge of this reset, and the good guys are going to win. And that's why I believe even if we do have problems in the banking system, your dollar for dollar accounts in your bank, I think, are going to be okay. So is it too late to own physical silver? Well, it's getting harder and harder to find any physical silver. As I said, pretty much everyone online is sold out. But if you can get to your local dealer and see if you can get some American Eagles or the coins of your country, Canadian maple leaves, etc., that would be the way to go. I've also recommended mining stocks for a long time. Our GDX, GDXJ, silver mining stocks, etc., have all done very, very well. You also have investments like PSLV, which is physical silver, that would be an option to buy. Just realize that volatility can occur on the upside and on the downside. So it's a good idea not to get too crazy with your allocation, but to make a decision that is right for you based on what you know and your risk tolerance. All right, well, that was a crazy podcast, and there were a lot of different things that I had to cover. But one of the things I want to do today, since it's February 1st, is to announce our holiday giveaway winners. And I've decided I'm going to award everybody who left a podcast review since we extended this January 13th. So if you left a podcast review, you should hear your name in my list of winners. Let's go. In terms of the Wealth Heiress Book, the first winner is CRZSTL. The second winner is Brittany B1234. The third winner of the Wealth Heiress Book is Bagpipe021, who I believe is Charles. The fourth winner is AB1009. The fifth winner of the book is ITappreviewer. The sixth winner is Sheffrey, that's SHEFFREY. The seventh winner is SMOLGM87. The eighth winner is Create Nickname 2457. The ninth winner is AllauraMcFall. Congratulations, you've all won a Wealth Heiress book. Please send me an email at lpjhome@gmail.com. Put winner in the subject line and let me know you've won a book, what your address is, where I can mail it to you, and how you would like me to sign it. Now for the Wealthy Mindset Blueprint audio sets, valued at $197. The first winner is Christopher Locatell. The second winner is Don Savo, S-A-V-O. The third winner is ChelseaAnneg. The fourth winner of the audio set is AB1009. The fifth winner is Blue251. The sixth winner is BrittanyR. And the seventh winner is fjlkcf. Congratulations, you've all won the Wealthy Mindset Blueprint audio set. Please send me an email at lpjhome@gmail.com with winner in the subject line and let me know that you won the Wealthy Mindset Blueprint audio set, and I'll be happy to email it off to you. Now for one-on-one wealth mentor sessions with me, the first winner is Dylan, D-Y-L-A-N. The second winner is jkconifer, C-O-N-I-F-E-R. The third winner is Megan. The fourth winner is PowayDave. The fifth winner is Jolienina, Jolienina. The sixth winner is Monique, 612. The seventh winner is Bierme, Bierme2. And the eighth winner is Sanjlo, Sanjlo. Congratulations, you've all won a one-on-one 30-minute wealth mentoring session with me. Please send me an email to lpjhome@gmail.com with winner in the subject line and let me know a couple of dates and times that work for a 30-minute session with me. And thank you to everyone who left a review. I loved hearing what you all had to say. I loved the feedback. I love learning what you love about the podcast and how much you've learned from the podcast. That gives me tremendous satisfaction, and I'm so grateful to have very loyal, devoted listeners who are amazing people. And I wanted to read to you Dawn Savo's review. She called me the Oprah of financial advice, which cracked me up. She says, I am a dedicated follower of Linda's podcasts. She offers a wealth of information on wealth building that is easy to understand. I like that her podcasts are bite-sized, and she often takes news from financial headlines and explains why it's important. I've learned so much in such a short time and have tripled my net worth. Kudos to you, Dawn. You took the information that you learned here and applied it to your own situation. Now, I can be your wealth mentor. I'm not your financial advisor. I don't give specific financial advice on the podcast, but I do give you education about what's happening, what cycles are out there, what's moving, what's trending, where I see opportunity to try to help you grow your net worth. So I'm thrilled that you had success with application of the concepts that you learned here and did just that. So congratulations, Dawn. We covered a lot today, and I think this week is going to be very, very action-packed. So we'll see what happens. I'll be reporting into you on the podcast and updating you on what's happening. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.